England is a small but powerful country in northern Europe. As you can see from the zoomed-in map of Europe, England, sometimes called Great Britain or the United Kingdom, is an island nation. It has a lot of coastline. It's located in the Atlantic Ocean. Nowadays, England and Ireland are separate countries, but when the Tudor family ruled England, the English king or queen had control over Ireland, as well as a region called Wales, on the map in purple, and Scotland, on the map in orange. Most of Ireland has since broken away from the English government, but a section called Northern Ireland is still controlled by the British government today, as is Scotland and Wales. Together, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and England make up the United Kingdom. England developed a strong monarchy headed by the Tudor family. We've learned a little bit about this family already, especially with King Henry VIII, who was responsible for creating the Anglican Church during the Protestant Reformation. The Tudor family ruled England from 1485 to 1603. The Tudor Dynasty brought unity to the country after years of decline and disorder. And there's one ruler in particular we are going to focus on. Her name is Elizabeth I, and she ruled England from 1558 to 1603. She was the last ruling member of the Tudor family. Elizabeth was a strong female monarch in a time when men dominated government. She was 25, highly educated, insightful, and had a forceful personality when she took the throne in 1558. She was an excellent public speaker who used her sharp tongue to assert her iron will, often raising conflicts with Parliament. Parliament, at this point in history, was part of the government in England that was supposed to make rules and laws according to the wishes of the king or queen. In general, Elizabeth used her authority for the common good. She journeyed frequently throughout the kingdom to gain the loyalty and confidence of her subjects. During Elizabeth's reign, England experienced a productive cultural period in theater, poetry, and writing known as the Golden Age. As a woman, people expected Elizabeth to marry, but she refused to give up her powers as a monarch for the sake of marriage. Elizabeth knew that if she married, her authority and power would become inferior to a king's authority. If she married, her husband would take control of the country from her. Elizabeth strongly believed in a rigid social ranking system to help control social mobility. Social mobility is the ability to rise or fall in social status in society. As an absolute monarch in Europe, Elizabeth was able to create a strong system to basically keep people in their place. The queen and her court were at the very top of the social pyramid, followed by nobles. Then the middle class, and the middle class during this time consisted of lesser nobles, merchants or traders, lawyers, and clergy or religious officials. Below the middle class was yeomen, which is the term used to describe farmers with small amounts of land, poor farmers. At the very bottom of the social pyramid was laborers or common workers. Elizabeth made laws that regulated the lives of the common people. The Statute of Apprentices, made in 1563, announced that work was a social and moral duty to all residents of England. This was basically a law that forced people to live and work in the area where they were born for their entire lives. By making this law, Elizabeth controlled the movement of labor and fixed wages, creating stability in England. Another influential decision made by Elizabeth was to pass the Poor Laws of 1597 and 1601. These laws made local areas in England responsible for taking care of their own homeless and unemployed populations. At this time in England, the power to raise taxes was officially held only by Parliament. Therefore, if Elizabeth wanted to raise money by making taxes, she would have to work and compromise with the members of Parliament. However, Elizabeth did not want to share power with the members of Parliament, so instead of taxes, she raised money by selling royal lands, offices, and licenses. England remained in debt for most of Elizabeth's reign because she did not want to compromise her own power by working together with Parliament to collect more taxes. Elizabeth helped create a foreign policy for international relations that was suitable for a small island nation with limited resources. She built and maintained a strong navy to defend the nation and to make sure that the nation was able to get the supplies it needed from areas overseas. Her navy defeated the Spanish Armada in 1588, surviving an attack from the world's greatest naval power. She relied on diplomacy and politics to create a balance of power between European nations, especially between the three main competitors, England, France, and Spain. If one nation was becoming more powerful than another, then a third nation could become involved and support the weaker country in order to maintain stability in Europe. For example, if Spain was becoming too strong and threatening England, then England would team up with France to prevent Spain from taking over. There were lots of little alliances between European powers during this time, and none lasted for too long. However, Elizabeth was able to keep England safe. Elizabeth did face some social problems at home. She encountered resistance to her rule from the large Catholic population of Scotland. In the 1560s, Scotland became Protestant and allied with England, a move largely coordinated by Elizabeth's cousin, Mary, the Queen of Scots. Elizabeth later had her cousin Mary executed because Elizabeth felt that the Scottish royal, her cousin, posed a threat to Elizabeth's power. In this way, England came to gain increasing influence and eventual control over Scotland. With Elizabeth's death in 1603, the Tudor Dynasty ended in England. Elizabeth never married and never had children, so there was no heir to the throne in her family. Instead, a new dynasty started in England called the Stuart Dynasty, led by King James I. James and the other Stuart leaders who followed him enjoyed the lasting legacy of Elizabeth I's rule long after the royal queen's death.